The semi-finals of the Carabao Cup are set, and we've got another round of Premier League fixtures to predict. You're watching Foot and Mouth. Welcome back to Foot in Mouth. We had a crazy game to end off the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup with Manchester United taking on Spurs. And Spurs came out 4-3 winners, and that was a proper back and forth. I mean, it didn't start too back and forth. Spurs were leading the way. But Man United looked like they were on the verge of a monumental comeback. But Ange said, "No, mate, can't do it." So, yeah, Spurs end up winning 4-3. Hate to see it, hate to say it, but I cannot deny that it was a very, very, very entertaining game. So, can't have too many complaints. Some good goals in the night. Some sporadic. I mean, I expected it to be a high-scoring game. Like I had said before in the previous episode, where it wasn't down to phenomenal attacks. It was more down to just lackluster defending. But I think this game had a bit of both, a bit of everything. And for the neutral especially, it was just a good watch. But it is another down for Amorim since he's taken over at Man United. It's been very start-stop with him. But I still think even in defeat, United are looking a lot better. They look better in defeat under Amorim than they did when winning under Ten Hag, which is a weird thing to say, but I think that is the case. So your semi-finals for the Carabao Cup will be Spurs taking on Liverpool, thank goodness, and Arsenal taking on Newcastle, which is the draw that I was hoping for. I still don't think it's going to be easy. Like I said, I just felt that they would be easier than whoever came out on top in the other fixtures. So I'll take Newcastle. It's going to be over 2 legs in the semi-final. First leg for Arsenal is going to be at the Emirates, which I'm very happy for. Again, let me know in the comments if you guys think that is it better to start with an away fixture or close out with an away fixture. I think it's better to start with a home fixture, just so you can kind of set the table, set the pace. And then in the second leg, you can just lock it down and manage that aggregate lead, which Arsenal should have. Yeah, it's not going to be an easy game, but it is going to be made easier with the fact that both Bruno Guimaraes and also Fabian Schär are suspended for their first leg at the Emirates. So I think Arsenal need to absolutely do everything they can to take advantage of that, because Bruno in particular is going to be a big miss for Newcastle. And then Liverpool versus Spurs. On slot, I am desperate for you to do something here, because I will not be able to handle Spurs being in a final, and I won't be able to handle it even more if it's going to be Arsenal versus Spurs in the final, because if we end up being the club that basically hands them their first trophy, that's going to be not a good look, to put it nicely. So yeah, I'm hoping for a Arsenal versus Liverpool final in the Carabao Cup. And yeah, we will get to those fixtures when they are here, because that's next year talk, 2025 business. For now, we're back at the Premier League, and I'm going to start off with the Arsenal game, Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. We played them earlier in the week in the Carabao Cup quarterfinal, of course. We beat them 3-2. This is the second time we're playing them in a week, only this time it is at Selhurst Park, which is not a place I enjoy going. I mean, I've never been there physically, but you know what I mean. Look, so far, Arsenal head-to-head wise with Palace, we do okay, you know. They've only gotten 1 win against us in the last 4 or 5 meetings. And that win was at Selhurst Park, but it was also way, way back in 2022, I want to say. So, in recent times, Arsenal haven't had too much to worry about when it comes to Crystal Palace. Although I will say again, you know, when we do get a result at Selhurst Park, it's normally like 1-0, something like that. Like it's a very tight game. And considering our Premier League form of late, I'm not overly confident going into this game. You know, we did beat them in the Carabao Cup, but they did also come back to score 2 goals against us at the Emirates. We should have done better. It should have been more comfortable. But fair play to Crystal Palace. I said before, I do like the game plan that Glasner came with. And I also said initially that I expected Arsenal to get a much better result this weekend. Now, that was before I did have a brief look at Crystal Palace's results so far. And I saw in their last 4 games in the Premier League, they do have 2 draws. But those draws came against Newcastle and Manchester City. And both of those draws were at Selhurst Park. So clearly they know how to spoil the fun for a bigger club coming to their ground. And I think Arsenal again, straight up, should have the quality to see this game out. We rotated quite a bit in the Carabao Cup game, and what got us the win was the introduction of our regular first team players. So this weekend, today's game, I'm going to say Arsenal aren't going to do any of that rotation. I think we're just starting full strength from the jump. And I think that's going to give us a massive advantage. We saw Mateta got the better of Kiwior in the Carabao Cup game. He's not going to be facing Kiwior today. I think he's going to be facing a full-strength Gabriel Saliba centre-back partnership, and I don't think he's going to have any joy, if I'm being honest. I also think that even with our injuries and injury doubts, as things stand, we've got Tommy Yasu, who's completely out, Ben White's completely out, of course. And then the doubts for this game was Zinchenko, Declan Rice, and Kieran Tierney, who, I felt bad for him. I think Tierney had a very good game in the Carabao Cup, and he picked up a minor injury towards the end of it. So they are doubts. But even with those doubts, I still think Arsenal should have enough about them to get a win here. And let's be honest now. If we are serious about the title challenge, which we should be, then this is a game that we need to be winning. Crystal Palace are currently sitting in 15th on 16 points. A win here isn't going to take us above Chelsea, but it is going to put pressure on Chelsea and Liverpool. It's going to close that gap a little bit. Something that we haven't done in recent weeks. So we need to do it now. I know they say better late than never, but in the Premier League, you pretty much have to be damn near perfect in this day and age if you want to mount a serious title challenge. So I'm expecting Arsenal to get the win here. I don't think it's going to be easy. Like I said, Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park is always pretty daunting to me, regardless of whether or not you're expecting a win. I think so, yeah, it's going to be hard fought. Because of that, I think initially I wanted to see a midfield of Odegaard and Kai Havertz with Thomas Partey behind them, or Declan Rice if he's fit. But I just think that considering the physicality of Crystal Palace, I think Mikel Arteta's stubbornness, to be fair, I think Arteta is still going to go with the duo that we've been seeing more of lately, which is going to be Odegaard and Merino. And fair play, I can't have too many complaints about it. But I just think, Gabriel Jesus has to start up top. He just got a hat-trick against Crystal Palace. The worst thing you can do to a player who's just got a hat-trick, a player who, mind you, was fighting and struggling for confidence and goal-scoring form. Once they get a hat-trick, now's not the time to take him out the team. So I'm expecting Jesus to start up top. It just means that Havertz isn't going to have a place in the starting 11. And that may also be justified because in recent weeks, Havertz hasn't looked like the type of player that he once was since joining Arsenal. I think he'll still find his form again. I just think he's going to have to be eased into it. I wouldn't be against the idea of seeing Gabriel Jesus played out left and Havertz playing down the middle. I do like when Jesus does drift in from a wide position. But we know Arteta. Arteta's going to play Martinelli or Trossard. I'm expecting Martinelli. But yeah, I just would have liked to see a way for Havertz to be worked into the team. But I wouldn't be against seeing Odegaard and Merino in the midfield. Like I say, Crystal Palace, they are quite strong physically. And they are going to be without Adam Wharton for this game. They're also going to be without Eze. So those are big pluses for Arsenal. So I think, look, when you look at the two teams, we've just got a win against them. And yes, it wasn't the most comfortable win, but it was a win. So confidence definitely going to be there with the team. Morale's going to be higher after that game. Morale's going to be the highest with Gabriel Jesus, who just took home the match ball. So all in all, I'm expecting Arsenal to line up full strength. I'm expecting Bukayo Saka to, after having had a bit of a rest, he did come on from the bench in the last game. Same with Odegaard. But for the most part, they've had a little bit of a rest. So I think you're going to see a better Martin Odegaard. You're going to see a better Bukayo Saka. And I think you're going to see a 2-1 Arsenal win. I'm going to say 2-1 Arsenal win. We need to start putting pressure on Chelsea and Liverpool ASAP, bruh. Mateta, he is a big guy. But it looks like William Saliba and Gabriel do enjoy playing against those big, bulky strikers. Just look at Erling Haaland against Arsenal. He doesn't really do much. And they do obviously have Eddie Nketiah, who scored against us at the Emirates. So I wouldn't be surprised if Crystal Palace try and throw that spanner in the works again. But yeah, I'm still quite confident in Arsenal win here. So I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal. Starting off the weekend is quite a big game. Aston Villa versus Manchester City at Villa Park. And I think that this is a tough one for both clubs, to be honest. I think both clubs have had ups and downs. Obviously, City have had the bulk of the downs this season compared to between the two clubs. But I still think that it's not going to be a good day for City. Right off the bat, I'm saying it now. I'm backing Aston Villa in this game. I'm definitely backing Aston Villa in this game. It's Unai Emery versus Pep Guardiola. And Unai Emery, in his press conference, has mentioned that he's been surprised by City's struggles this season, but he also did acknowledge that he still views them as the best team in the league and with the best manager. I don't think anybody's going to fault him there, regardless of form. This is still Manchester City. And Pep Guardiola has been very vocal about how the team will turn things around naturally. He has also been vocal saying that he thinks that the struggle in form is down to players injured at Manchester City. And I normally I'm very sympathetic when it comes to injuries at clubs. But with Man City, it's hard to be that sympathetic when you consider the team they are still lining up. Like, their team is still good enough to be getting better results than what they've been pulling in the last 11, 12 games across all competitions. So I think Pep saying that is kind of him grasping at straws. But in fairness, there are some big injuries at that club. Obviously, Rodri is missing, but a club like City should be bigger than just one player. Albeit he is a Ballon d'Or winner, so he is the player. But yeah, like going into this game now, City do obviously have a fresh injury problem with Ruben Diaz, who picked up an injury in the Manchester derby, which kind of just made an already bad situation in losing that game even worse, because their stats without Diaz are not a good read, to be honest. With Diaz this season, they played 12 times, and yeah, they haven't gotten a whole lot of wins, but they've got 3 wins and they've got two losses. Without Diaz, they played 4 times this season. They got 3 losses to show in those games. So he clearly is a big miss for them. For him to be missing at a game against Villa at Villa Park, which is a very difficult place to go, it kind of just makes an already bad situation a little bit worse for them. So I'm going to say that this is a Villa win, which is very weird to say. It's still pretty new to me to kind of count Man City out of these fixtures. I do still think that they'll turn things around. I'm with Pep in that regard, but I don't think this game is the one to do it. Aston Villa obviously do also need to find some consistency again in the league, but for the most part, and especially at home, they are a very good side. I'm still very happy that Arsenal got this fixture out the way early in the season. But yeah, I think Aston Villa are going to have a bit too much for them, especially in the midfield. You know, you got Yuri Tielemans there, who could be making his 200th appearance in the Premier League if he does play this game, which he should, let's be honest. But you've also got Amadou Onana. And what a player. I think that this guy is literally a brick wall in midfield. And if Aston Villa can lock things down in the midfield and just control the pace of the game there, between Tielemans and Onana, and just give breathing room to the attackers, because there's a lot of pace up front. Let's be real now. You know, they've got Ollie Watkins, they've got Leon Bailey, who's also fit to play this game. They haven't got Jacob Ramsey, but I think they still have enough quality about the team to make up for that. And yeah, I think if they can control the midfield, middle of the park, I think they'll be solid, bro. Luca Dini, obviously, not the best defensively, but he always offers something creatively at least. And I think with him at the back, you've also got Emi Martinez in goal, you know, who's going to be very confident after getting another individual award this week. Tyrone Mings is available for this game. So I honestly think that, yeah, Haaland probably will get a goal, you know. He's leading the goal scoring charts this season. He's tied with Mo Salah up top with 13 goals for the season so far. But obviously the confidence still isn't there at Man City. And I think Aston Villa have a bit more about them at this moment in time. So I'm going to give it to Villa. I'm going to say this is going to be another high-scoring game, to be honest. I'm going to say this is probably be a 3-2 Villa win. I'm going to say 3-2 Villa. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a draw, but I just don't see Man City even getting draws anymore, bro. It's win or lose with them at this moment in time. And I think that Aston Villa are taking in the better part of, you know, good momentum. I think morale's higher at the club. I think Unai Emery is going to be very, very prepared for this fixture. And yeah, I'm going Aston Villa win 3-2. The biggest game of the weekend by far is Tottenham versus Liverpool, and this is at Spurs home ground. I think that this is where Spurs get a little bit of a wake-up call. You know, to be fair, it's not like it's a real wake-up call because they haven't exactly been running away with anything results-wise lately, but they have been on a bit of a high, and I will give them credit in that they do show up when they're playing against the big boys this season. That much we've seen. And obviously, just as recently as this week with the Carabao Cup, you know, Liverpool beat Southampton 2-1. Obviously, there was a lot of rotation there. But Spurs beating Man United in the way that they did at home. So now it's another home game back-to-back for them. The fans are going to be up for it. The players are going to be up for it. The manager is going to be up for it because now he's got, I think, like a newfound sense of belief in his team's ability. And, you know, why wouldn't you have that after the way they beat Man United? That was a crazy game. Liverpool, obviously, this season are the best team by a mile. You know, they've still got a game in hand. So, you know, I'd rather have points on the board than games in hand. But I think Arne Slot will know that. Arne Slot will be aware of that, and regardless of whatever gap they have to Chelsea or to any other team for that matter, he's going to be hell-bent on just getting as many wins as possible, as you should. So I think this is a big game. There's a lot riding on this. Chelsea obviously are closing that gap on Liverpool. It doesn't help that Liverpool have a game against Spurs to play. So Chelsea will be watching this game just as eagerly as any Liverpool or Spurs fan, to be honest. And it's tough, man. I'm going to go with the Liverpool win. And I feel like a lot of this is down to my bias against Spurs. But at the same time, I just genuinely do think that Liverpool, regardless of Spurs on their best day, I think this Liverpool team is just far too good, bro. They are far too good, especially in the attacking department. Spurs defense still don't look really good at all. Liverpool definitely better defensively. I think you can go man for man with Liverpool versus Spurs, and Liverpool come out on top in every position. Down to the manager. All due respect to Ange Postecoglou, Arne Slot this season, for me, manager of the season, as things stand. He's on course to win his first trophy with the club in his first season in the Carabao Cup. He's on course to win the Premier League title in his first season with Liverpool. They are doing fine in the Champions League, better than fine in the Champions League. Everything's just going right at that club. Everything is going right at that club. And I think this is going to be a big Liverpool win. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Liverpool win. 3-1 Liverpool win. Yeah, I think Mo Salah is going to be the man of the moment. Harvey Elliott also, I think if he gets some minutes, he's going to do something, because he is going to want to do everything he can to stay in this first team 11 and keep knocking on that door. So yeah, I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool. Hopefully it's a even bigger hiding for Spurs. But 3-1 Liverpool. And yeah, that win would obviously just make Liverpool even more favourites for the Premier League title. And as disappointing as it is to see, I still believe that at some point Liverpool are going to start dropping points, bro. I think they are going to start dropping points, but I don't think this game is one in which they will. Now on Chelsea, obviously the closest rivals to Liverpool at the moment, they've got Everton away today. And Everton away, not today, sorry, they've got Everton away this weekend. But Everton away could be tricky. It's very easy just to be like, yeah, Chelsea win. And it probably will be a Chelsea win, but I think that there is a lot of reason to kind of back Everton for at least a draw, and that's solely based on what I saw when they played against Arsenal, and obviously it was a bad day for Arsenal. Arsenal were not doing nearly enough to get a win in that game. I don't think Chelsea are going to make that same mistake, but at the same time, Everton can frustrate. Sean Dyche can frustrate. So as much as I wanna back Everton for even a win here, as much as I wanna back them for a draw, I do still think this has got a Chelsea win written all over it, whether it's through 3 penalties for Cole Palmer or not. I just think that Chelsea have more than enough quality in that team, and you got a lot of players that are kind of high on confidence at the moment. You look at Enzo Fernandez, for example. I think he's been having a very good run of games lately. So I think Marco Correa as well. They've obviously got some doubts, some injuries on their side, but at the same time, when you've got a squad as big as their squad, do injuries even matter at this point? But if anybody's injured, you're bringing on players like João Felix, for crying out loud. So I don't think injuries are going to be a factor in this one, regardless of who it is at Chelsea. But yeah, I think Chelsea are going to take this game. I think this is going to be, oh man, I feel bad to say it for Everton, but I think this is going to be like a 3-0 Chelsea win. 3-0 Chelsea. I hope Everton prove me wrong. Everton, please prove me wrong this one time. But yeah, I'm going with the Chelsea 3-0 win. And that is just going to make them even more in the title race, which some Chelsea fans still, for some reason, don't believe they are in. Other fixtures this weekend, we got West Ham at home to Brighton. Again, 2 clubs that look a little bit up and down. West Ham, to be fair, I think that they've been looking better in recent weeks. Brighton, not so much. But at the same time, this game could go either way. It's at West Ham's home. I think that's West Ham's only saving grace in this fixture. I still prefer Brighton's squad. And I still prefer Brighton's manager. But at the same time, Brighton have not been looking as worrying in the league this season so far. So it's a bit of a tough one to call. But from where I'm sitting right now, I'm going to say that this is going to be a West Ham win. I'm going to say this is a West Ham win. 2-1. 2-1 West Ham for this one. West Ham needed, Brighton needed, but West Ham more so. So yeah, I'm going to give it to West Ham, 2-1. We've also got Ipswich at home to Newcastle. Ipswich have been known to throw a few surprises here and there, But this is Newcastle all day. I'm going to say this is a Newcastle at least 2-1 win. I'm going to say 2-1 Newcastle, especially coming off the back of qualifying for the semis of the Carabao Cup. Confidence that side will be high. They just beat Brentford, who are better side than Ipswich. I can't look past Newcastle for this one. I'll say 2-1. We've also got Brentford, who just lost to Newcastle, at home to Nottingham Forest. And this is going to be an interesting game. I think this is going to be a good watch. It's two clubs that play nice brands of football. It's going to be a lot of attacking. I'm going to give it to Brentford. I think Brentford are going to turn things around after the Carabao Cup loss. And I think that they also need to prove some points in the Premier League. Not only prove them, but win some. I'm going to go with Brentford winning this one. I'm going to say this is I'm going to say 1-0 Brentford. 1-0. You know what, to be fair, Nottingham Forest do have goal scorers. Yeah, fuck that. I'm going to say it's a draw. I'll say this is a draw. I think this will be 2-2. Brentford versus Nottingham Forest will be 2-2. Then we've also got Manchester United at home to Bournemouth. Could be a very tricky one for United. Bournemouth are not the worst team in the league by any means. And I think they've got players that can cause serious problems to Manchester United defensively and offensively. United obviously coming off the back of a loss to Spurs. A pretty bad loss, to be fair. And it's one of those games that's either going to wake them up or it's going to kick them down even further. Amorim obviously has the right attitude going forward. He's not losing any sleep over that loss, and he just wants the players to work hard. And from what I've seen so far, he is getting better out of these players. So I don't see why it can't continue in this game. And I'm actually going to back Man United here. I'm going to say Man United are going to win this 2-1. Probably goals from Bruno Fernandes, and I'm hoping to see Højlund score again. I do like Højlund. I'm still quite a big fan of his. So the more he scores, the better, in my opinion. But yeah, Rashford, will he make the squad? Won't he make the squad? That's going to be interesting to see. But Amorim seems to be backing this boy. He wants to help him. And it doesn't look like there's any particularly bad blood between the manager and the player, at least. Can't say the same for the rest of his teammates. We know how the fans feel about Rashford at this moment. But yeah, I wonder if he'll make it back into the team. But either way, whether he's there or not, we've seen United can win without him and Garnacho. But yeah, I'm going to go with United winning this one 2-1. And then we've also got Fulham at home to Southampton, which, I mean, this has to be Fulham. I think they're just going to add on more misery to an already miserable season for Southampton. I feel like I say that about Southampton every week I do predictions. But yeah, I don't think Southampton have nearly enough to get a win against Fulham, especially at Craven Cottage. Fulham, they've excited me this season. They are a little bit of an Arsenal B team with all the ex-Arsenal players. They've got that side. So I'm backing Fulham all day. I think it's going to be a Fulham 3-0 win. 3-0 Fulham. And then the last game we're looking at is Leicester City at home to Wolves. Wolves have a new manager incoming. Southampton as well, by the way. But Wolves just announced a new manager. Wolves have had a lot of bad luck this season in terms of their chances that they've had in front of goal. It just hasn't worked out for them once they get into the box. Leicester, I like what I've been seeing from them lately. I cannot lie. I know they aren't the best. I know that they aren't favorites to stay up in the league this season. But I'm tempted, and I will back them in this game. I'm going to back Leicester for a win here. I'm going to say Leicester are going to win this 1-0. This is my 1-0 of the week. That does it for the predictions for the round of fixtures this week. Let me know in the comments what you guys expect from some of these games, especially the Spurs versus Liverpool game. Let's get to the football, guys. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more. I'll catch you in the next one.